وجاهدوا في الله حق جهاده. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: كن في الدنيا كأنك غريب أو عابر سبيل. وقال الله عز وجل في مقام آخر: ولا تنس نصيبك من الدنيا وأحسن كما أحسن الله إليك ولا تبغ الفساد في الأرض إن الله لا يحب المفسدين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Respected brothers, elders, and sisters. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, addressing us in the Quran: all you people who believe, strive towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as He is supposed to be striven for. Now, before we get to this point, I want to touch on a few things. The first thing I want to talk about is that people in this world are all goal-oriented. And when we say goal-oriented, is not that people have a goal or don't have a goal, but rather a person only works when he has a goal. And when he doesn't have a goal, he doesn't work. He's lazy about it. And Shaitan's focus is this, that he makes us forget our goal. Now, whether we are Muslim or not, Shaitan is making us forget our goal. As a Muslim, we know our goal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about in the Quran: وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونِ, our primary goal. And Shaitan's effort is to make us forget that. So he makes us busy in the dunya, our families, etc., etc. So he involves us in everything else so that we forget our actual goal. But the non-Muslims are also made to forget their goal. What is the goal of the non-Muslim? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says with regard to every person, كُلُّ مَوْلُودٍ يُولَدُ عَلَى الْفِطْرَةِ, that every newborn is born upon a innate nature. And what is fitrah? Many scholars have give different meanings, and one of the meanings given is that their ability to understand and recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. And that is why we know that the ruling according to the fuqaha, according to the scholars of deen, is that a person who may live in the most remote part of the world, where no one went to tell him about Allah, no one told him about Rasulullah, no one told him anything about Islam, Allah will not hold him accountable for anything, whether believing in Rasulullah or that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is even named Allah. But he'll only be held accountable to Allah subhanahu for one thing, recognizing that there's one Allah, one God. Because that is recognizable through the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no one has to tell him that. And also every single person has been made in such a way that he will look for the ultimate power. That's why every person is geared towards that. However, Shaitan in a normal person, non-Muslim person, will try to make him forget this part, finding that final Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is what Shaitan works with non-Muslims. So in simple words, going back to our actual discussion, that every person is geared, is goal-oriented. That means as long as he has goal in front of him, he'll work towards it. The moment he forgets his actual goal, what happens? He starts doing everything else in the world and not actually working towards his goal. Now, one of the things that Shaitan puts in our minds with regard to us being Muslims is that instead of making my goal finding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he makes our goal slightly different. And we think we are actually working towards the right goal, but we're actually working towards the wrong. And what is this common goal that has become amongst all of us? Elevation of Islam. Elevation of Islam. While elevation of Islam in itself is not something wrong, it's not something bad. Yes, definitely we should uphold Islam and raise the platform of Islam. But our primary goal is what? To please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and get Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we will achieve our primary goal, what will happen? The secondary goal, which is elevation of Islam, raising the platform of Islam, will come along with it. That is why we see Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's primary goal was not what? To establish Islamic Khilafat. Yes, that was attained once they went to Medina. But what did he do in Makkah for 13 years? What did he do? He connected people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He connected people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, the way that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam connected people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was not by detaching them from the world. Was not by detaching them from the world. In this world, when people have this goal of raising the platform of Islam, they do one of two things. Normally. However, there's the third and the fourth group, but we're talking about the general masses of Muslims. Number one is they think, but I will raise Islam by getting position and possession. Two things. What is it? Position and possession. When I have position, I can raise Islam. When I have possession, I can raise Islam and fulfill all the things I need to do to raise Islam. However, the more possession he acquires, the more he sees the need of more possession. And that final amount of how much I actually need to raise the platform of Islam never comes. Because position and possession never actually gives you what you need, which is the raising the platform of Islam. And that can only be done by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, and then the second group of people. The second group of people say, you know what? Dunya cannot do, so I'm going to minus dunya completely from my life. Which does not work, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us already, La rahbaniyata fil Islam. And we've spoken about this few days ago after Isha, that Allah Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us the monasticism, to confine yourself and within an area just to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's not something that's been advised or prescribed for us. Rather, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam prescribes for us. What does he prescribe for us? Kun fil dunya. That live in the dunya, stay in the dunya, because that's what you're made out of. You cannot come out of the confines of dunya. It's a bubble that you have been put into, and you cannot come out of it until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes you out from it. And when you come on, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides, وَلَمَّا جَاءَ أَجَلُهُمْ إِذَا جَاءَ أَجَلُهُمْ لَا يَسْتَأْخِرُونَ سَاعَةً وَلَا يَسْتَقْدِمُونَ. When the time comes to leave that bubble, then you cannot say, I want to stay for longer, or nor can you tell Allah, oh, I want to leave earlier. That's up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as long as you've been put into that bubble. So now, Rasulullah says, Kun fi dunya. But the important part is what comes after that. Rasulullah says, كَأَنَّكَ غَرِيبٌ. كَأَنَّكَ غَرِيبٌ. As if you are a stranger. أَوْ عَابِدُ سَبِيلٍ. Or like a traveler. So, the scholars have explained that one explanation is either live like a stranger or like a traveler. But scholars explain rather, the translation should be that live in the world like a stranger. But even better is that you should live like a traveler. And there's a very slight difference between a stranger and a traveler. For example, a person, he comes to a city and he's a businessman, for example. So now when he's a businessman, he comes and settles in an area for a moment. He's a stranger to the city, so he actually tries to acquire something to make a living for himself for a few days. So he comes over there, maybe rents an apartment, furnishes slightly, etc., etc. So this is a stranger. He's stranger to that land. Rasulullah said that if you want to live in this dunya, no problem. Live in the dunya as a stranger. Acquire the necessities for you to live in there for a few days. But even better for you, then you don't even live as a stranger, but live like a traveler. And what is a traveler? An example is always given. A person stays in the airport. Now, let's understand. A person, he has a set flight at 4:30. So already he's not going to make arrangements for a luxurious living within the airport. He's going to live just till 4:30. But then flight announcement is made, the flight is delayed till 5 o'clock. So what does he do? Okay, fine, I'm feeling hungry, let's go buy a snack. And then it's delayed, okay, till 8 o'clock. Okay, so let's go find something for dinner. So what does he do? He lives on bare necessities, just to get by to the moment when the flight departs. And that is what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is advising us. Live in this dunya in a way that bare necessities are given, that you make effort to acquire basic necessities. The person may ask that what about people that live the first class life? Their necessity is mashallah very very high standard. So that's not a problem. When a person Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us examples within the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So people like Uthman, Abdurrahman ibn Auf radiyallahu anhum used to live a very luxurious life. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted them. But the difference between them and us is that they did not put anything in acquiring what they wanted, but rather it was by the way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted them. Whatever they were given was spent for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And our life sometimes, even though we are poor, is put into acquiring that thing. And that is what Rasulullah defines as hubbud dunya. The love of the world. The love of the world. A person may before, sometimes we define that when a person has more, he has the love of the world. Not true. A person may have a lot, but he has no love for it. He has no love for it. On the other hand, a person may have nothing, but he loves it. A person might have millions, but he doesn't care. He lives a very simple life. On the other hand, a person may have nothing, but his whole 24 hours of a day is spent in how to get that immense amount. So that is what Rasulullah defines as love. So in another hadith, Rasulullah tells us that this final goal that we should set for ourselves, what is to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How to acquire it? Rasulullah says, "Izhad fi dunya yuhibbuka Allah, wazhad fi ma 'inda an-nas yuhibbuka an-nas." Rasulullah doesn't only give us one prescription, but two prescriptions. Number one, that for you to acquire the final goal of getting close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will not only get close to Allah, but a point comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes to love you. Rasulullah says, "Idhad fi dunya," stay away, have this inclination towards the dunya. Rasulullah did not say that don't have the dunya, because sometimes it's possible you only do a little bit and you get a lot. That's up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whoever He wants to grant. Izhad fi dunya, have this inclination towards the dunya. Yuhibbuka Allah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shall love you. Wazhad fi ma 'inda an-nas, and have this inclination towards what people have. People may have a lot, but you don't care. You're not after what they have. What will happen? People love you because they know you don't care what they have. You are just befriending them because they are who they are, because they're Muslims, because they're human beings. You're not befriending them because they have money, because they own a massive house, or they have position in life. That's not, you don't have a ulterior motive. The only motive you have is because they're Muslim, or they're a human being, a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And people will come to love you. So if we want to acquire the final position that closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which should be our goal, then what do we have to do? To have this inclination to dunya. So two things we discussed. Number one, that our goal has to be correct. Our goal should be closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything else, every other goal is secondary to this goal. That means elevation of Islam in the world is secondary to getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once we are closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we will be able to raise the platform of Islam in the world. Number two, for us to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of the most necessary things is that we remove the love of this world from our hearts. And we have this inclination towards the dunya. Not that we get rid of everything we have, but rather do not love what you have. Last thing I want to talk about is that how do we have this inclination towards the dunya? The ayat that we recited in the beginning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu jahidu fillahi haqqa jihad." They strive for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the extent that He's supposed to be striven for. What does that mean? What does that mean? That you have to strive for Him to the extent that He's supposed to be striven for. That means in this world, we have to look at ourselves from the perspective of this world. That if we have something in this world, we never stop at that. We never stop at that. We always make a secondary goal and third goal. No, I have reached my point, now I have to make another goal. That means if I have for example, people that go after degrees, they have bachelors, they want to get a master's. After masters, they want to get a PhD, etc., etc. People that are in a field of medical field, they will study the medical field and then they want to specialize and go further and further. People that have a certain salary always want to go beyond the point that they're earning at the moment. In the same way, if we are going to stop in deen, we have given different criterias of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's pleasure. What does that mean? Some people have to make their criteria, you know what, I'm going to stop when I become such and such person. When I make my salah perfect, that's my end goal. If I think my community is perfect, that's my goal. They have made different goals, and they have made that goal that this is what it means to become close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, no, jahid fillah haqqa jihadi. And what is haqqa jihadi? What is the meaning of the striving for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as it's supposed to be striven for? We see the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam on his deathbed. On where? On his deathbed. He is worried about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with him or not. Amr bin As radiyallahu anhu, on his deathbed, he is worried about, Ya Allah, what is going to happen to me, even though he has spent his entire life, the last portion of his life serving the cause of Islam only and only. But he's worried about, after I leave from this world, will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with how I have fulfilled my duties or not? Why? Because they are worried about the closeness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in simple words, for us to get that goal, pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we cannot have a cut-off point. We cannot have an ending point, because as soon as we have a cut-off point, an ending point, we will start falling and we will stop progressing. And when that point comes, not only will we fall, but the entire Islamic Ummah will fall. That's why we find in history, and we'll end up with this. We look at when Islam was in Spain, or the Mongolian Empire, or the Ottoman Empire. Every one of them had made it a point that this is our goal. And when they reached that goal, they said, it's enough for us now. Now we can start pursuing other things besides the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What happened after that? The entire empire fell in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it not only did it fall in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because it fell in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the empires fell in the eyes of every single creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to strive for His sake till our last breath. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله نحمده حمدا كثيرا كلما يحمده الحامدون، ونشكره شكرا جميلا كلما يشكره الشاكرون، ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له شهادة تنفعنا يوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون، ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله يغبطه الأولون والآخرون، صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وصحبه صلاة وسلاما دائمتين متلازمتين إلى يوم يجمع الأولون والآخرون. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا جاهدوا بالله حق جهاده هو اجتباكم وما جعل عليكم في الدين من حرج ملة أبيكم إبراهيم هو سماكم المسلمين. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: كن في الدنيا كأنك غريب أو عابر السبيل، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: ازهد في الدنيا يحبك الله، وازهد فيما عند الناس يحبك الناس، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. بارك الله لنا في القرآن العظيم ونفعنا وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه فيا فوز المستغفرين ويا نجاة التائبين. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه، ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا، من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا مولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة، من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد، ومن يعص الله ورسوله فإنه لا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك، وصل على المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات، وبارك على محمد وأزواجه وذريته. وقال الله عز وجل: والسابقون الأولون من المهاجرين والأنصار والذين اتبعهم بإحسان رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه وأعد لهم جنات تجري تحت الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا ذلك هو الفوز العظيم. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام الله في أصحابي لا تتخذوهم غرضا من بعدي فمن أحبهم فبحبي أحبهم ومن أبغضهم فببغضي أبغضهم وخير الناس قرني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله العلي العظيم يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم المقابر كلا سوف تعلمون ثم كلا سوف تعلمون كلا لو تعلمون علم اليقين لترون الجحيم ثم لترونها عين اليقين ثم لتسألن يومئذ عن النعيم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. Allahu Akbar. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Just a reminder, please avoid parking past this property line. Our neighbor is really upset and he's towing the cars that are parked in his property. So you can park on the street, you can park a few hundred cars on the street, there's plenty of space, or in our property right here. Also, please donate and help our masjid, we really need your help. And since you are able to come for the second Juma, please stick with that. We need to balance the number of people that are in both prayers, also because of the parking issue and because of our neighbor. So please keep on coming for the second Juma. May Allah reward you.
So we have a map as well, if it's marked red.
Yeah, the map shows you exactly where not to park.